here now with Erin from the Children's Rights Council of Northwest Ohio. Let's talk about what you guys do, first of all. What does the Children's Rights Council of Northwest Ohio do for our community?
It's in the simple description, it would be we're a visitation center. We work with the courts, domestic court and juvenile court, with parents with custody issues. They get supervised visits, and we're the ones that facilitate the supervised visitation.
So do we come, if it's a case where people need to use your services, do we come to your facility to do that, or do you meet parents somewhere? How does it work?
They come to us. We're very lucky to be housed in a church that has lots of rooms, lots of toys, and they come to us and we give them a room and a volunteer, and they go visit with their child.
That has got to be really helpful for parents who need your services. Correct. Because that could be a really stressful situation.
And for the kids too.
Absolutely.
And they're not always there forever. It's an accusation's been made in the courts, and they're temporarily with us to see how they do.
What are some, you said some of the reasons, maybe accusations have been made, maybe it's just temporarily that they need these services. So is it an employee that sets in with, is there somebody in with these parents? Do you use volunteers? How's that work?
We use volunteers. They sit in the room, they don't interact at all, and they take notes. And the notes can later be used in court for the parents. Volunteers we can't survive without volunteers. That's who keeps us going, and they believe in our mission too. So, and we're always looking for more volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
As a parent, I mean, that's the most important thing to me, is to be with my kids. It's why I drive them back and forth to all these sporting events every weekend. So I would think, I mean, for a parent who is in that situation, that's got to be that most important, maybe hour or 2 hours, whatever that time frame is for them every week. So that's essential for you to have those volunteers so that you can provide that time period.
Yes, and like every nonprofit, volunteers there's so many nonprofits in Toledo, it's really hard to come by volunteers.
What do volunteers need to have to be able to volunteer with you? What services do they need, or skills do they need to have?
Almost anyone can volunteer. We train them. They have to have a love of children and family, and neat handwriting's good for court.
Yeah, well, yes.
And they have to have the patience and the ability to stay neutral. You know, sometimes you want to get involved when there's something happening with a child and a parent. Unless it's bad, then you don't get involved. You just sit there. So there's that too. But we train, we help them, and we hope to keep them.
What kind of ages do is it range anywhere from an infant to a teenager?
Birth to 18, yes, and everywhere in between. Yeah, we have a lot of toddlers, and that's always interesting to observe, and it's scary for them, so you really have to work with them a lot and hope that the parent does the same thing. So.
I would think that sometimes if it's a child, especially like a toddler, that hasn't maybe seen the parent or...
Ever, sometimes.
Yeah, there would be some interesting dynamics to watch, or maybe you hope not, but perhaps sometimes they're maybe being told things that may or may not be true, and they may not know how to act around that other parent.
Right, there's parental alienation. It also depends on the other parent, what they've told the child. Some kids come in and they know immediately daddy, and they say daddy, they put their hands in their dad's hand or their mom's hand. But other times they're scared because they've been told things that aren't necessarily true, that they're going to be taken away and that type of thing. So we keep notes of all of that too. Anything that's said anywhere, we write it down.
Yeah, that would be, I can think that would be, I think about what I would be like in that situation volunteering, and I think I would just want to cry a lot. It would be really challenging, I think.
Sometimes it's really wonderful too.
Yes, yes, I can only imagine.
Yes.
So what would give me an example of kind of a parent's journey through maybe this, if I were a parent going through the Children's Rights Council, what would that be like?
Well, we'd get the referral from the courts, either domestic or juvenile, depending if the parents are married or not. They come in, they do an intake, fill in a lot of paperwork, and learn our rules. Then when it's time for their visit, the custodial parent brings the child, leaves the child with our volunteers and a whole lot of other kids in the room at that time. They leave, and then 15 minutes later, the non-custodial parent comes, meets their child, meets their volunteer, and they go off to a room. We hope that they bring food so they can eat together,
Yes.
you know, and toys, and they just spend the time together. We have a playground and a gym, and it can be a great experience, you know, and they do so well sometimes, and other times they just cry the whole time. But little by little, they warm up.
How long does it usually last? I mean, are we talking that this might last months or weeks or?
We've had months, we've had weeks, and we've had many years. We have parents that have been there forever. That's the only way it works. We also do exchanges too, where parents just can't get along, just to exchange their child.
Sure.
Yes. So.
You need volunteers.
Yes.
What if I want to volunteer? How do I get a hold of you? How can I make that happen?
There's two ways. They can go to the website, crctoledo.com. They can also give me a call at 419-473-8955.
And what kind of, I mean, do you need to be able to volunteer an hour a week? Do you need to be able to volunteer a lot? I mean, what kind of time commitments does it need to be?
We ask for no time restrictions or commitments. We do ask that maybe you give us 4 months to get to know what we do, that not all families are the same. And we have a calendar they sign up for, and they can choose to do once a week, 3 times a week, once a month, whatever they can do.
All right. Children's Rights Council of Northwest Ohio, they're doing some great work in our community. If you can help them out, you definitely should. We'll be right back on Better Living.